Welcome to the Music Room for July 4th, 2016. About a month ago, I was down in the record store looking at some of their used albums, and there's a woman in there with her teenage sons, and found out that they're in there all buying albums together. She was looking for 80s albums, and she had like ABC Lexicon of Love, and I started talking to her sons. They're like 15 or so. What are you guys listening to? And they're like, oh, we listen to everything. So I said, well, let me pick out a couple classic albums from the 70s. So I gave them Derek and the Dominoes and Tres Hombres by ZZ Top. And I said, these two are classic. These will get you started into some really good music from the 70s. And I was back there a couple days later, and the Tres Hombres was back in the stock. And I thought, oh, that woman, how could she put back Tres Hombres? It's like one of the greatest albums of the 70s. But she did. So anyway, something happened today that I was kind of reminded of this story. I did something that I've never done before. I actually wore flip-flops out in public. I could never really wear flip-flops, but I recently got a pair, and that they fit miraculously. And I've been wearing them around the house, but then I needed to go down to the store to get some potato salad for our 4th of July dinner. So I figured, I'll just wear my flip-flops. So while I'm clicking around the store, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I got a good story about flip-flops. So when we were growing up in Pittsburgh, we'd all road trip down to Florida to visit Nina and her husband then, Wayne, and their son, Mark. Now, Mark kind of reminded us of Kirk Russell in The Computer Who Wore Tennis Shoes, kind of a clean-cut blonde boy, I'll show you some pictures of him here. And and we'd have a great time. Well, when we moved to New Mexico, we didn't get to see him for probably about 10 years. And the three of them drove out all the way from Mims, Florida, all the way to New Mexico for Christmas. And I remember they came out in a two-door car. It's like a 69 Cutlass or something. And they drove all the way out. Mark gets out of the car, and there was about 2 feet of snow on the ground. And he gets out. He's running around. He's in his shorts and his flip-flops, and he's just having a grand old time in that snow, And, we're unpacking the car and bringing all the stuff, and he's out there making snowballs and having fights and all sorts of stuff. I was like, isn't he going to be cold? And Nina just says, no, I don't think so. And I said, is he going to put on any pants? And she says, well, he doesn't have any pants. And I'm like, what do you mean he doesn't have any pants? And he goes, he doesn't own any pants. So, anyway, so I'm walking around the store and I'm thinking about this story about the flip-flops and the pants and the snow and stuff. So he's at the time, now he was in college, but at the time, I'll show you a picture of him here. He starts looking through my albums, and I had what was I listening to? Like Bad Company and Led Zeppelin and Lynyrd Skynyrd and some Rolling Stones albums and Jethro Tull. Those are the kind of things that I had. And he goes, where's your ZZ Top? And I was like, I don't have any. And he goes, you know what really pisses me off about this road trip? And I'm like, what? And he said, we drove 1,000 miles across Texas and we didn't hear one goddamn ZZ Top song on the radio. So, for Christmas, he went down to the music store and he got me this album, ZZ Top's Tres Hombres. Now, when did this get released? This is their 1973 album. This is the album that has LaGrange on it. And if you listen to any albums now or any radio now, all you hear is LaGrange. You don't hear any of these other songs off of this album. This is a great album. And I've listened to this, I probably have heard this 200 times in the last 20, 30 years. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It's not because Mark gave it to me. It's just really a great album. I'll go ahead and start up playing a song off of here. I'm not going to play LaGrange. No. I'm going to play, there's 2 songs on here I'm going to play. We'll start out with the first one. And on side 1 of Tres Hombres, it's it's some of those songs that are kind of always played together. You know, you can never hear one without the other. You know, I'm talking about like Eruption, like Van Halen, Eruption, and You Really Got Me. Those are always played together, and Heartbreaker and Livin' Lovin' Maid. Those are always together as well. And We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. Or let me see, I thought of a Journey one. Feeling That Way in any time. You know, they're always played together. The same thing happens on this album here. The first song is let's get it going here. There we go. The first song is Waiting for the Bus. And it starts out, and whenever I have this on in the car stereo, I mean, I can't play it loud enough, these first couple songs. Waiting for the Bus, if you're like really into music and you want to hear some awesome recording of drums, there's very few recordings like Waiting for the Bus. Just go ahead and put it on. And if you got teenage kids and you're not telling them to listen to Tres Hombres, what's the matter with you? Okay, so while this is playing, a couple more things about Mark. So I was delivering newspapers for the Monitor in my car. I was like a carrier. So I'd pick up newspapers down at the Monitor, and then I would go and I'd drop them off at the carriers, and Mark went with me one day. And I remember him asking me if I was cool. And I said, well, yeah, I'm cool. Not clearly not understanding what cool meant. I was far from being cool. But Mark ended up meeting my friend Alistair and Andy, and he got to sample some of the local weed, I'm sure. Okay, let's talk about this next song. Oh, here's another couple things about Mark. He said, ZZ Top is the tightest trio that a band you will ever hear. He said, I've heard them so many times I can't even tell you. So he said, if you ever get a chance to see him, you should just go. And he's telling me, because I was playing guitar at the time, he said, you know, Billy Gibbons, he doesn't play with a guitar pick, he plays with a quarter. And if you listen to his songs, the transient response coming off of his strings is really quite pronounced, and that's because he's actually playing with a super hard pick at just quarter. About, 9 months later, they came through Albuquerque and on the, let me see, at that point it was the El Loco tour. And I went down to see him, and it was, I think Loverboy opened for him, and it was an outdoor concert. It was hot as hell and dusty and shitty. But they come out and they just belt out these tunes like, oh my God, it was awesome. It's just an awesome concert. And after then, I became a ZZ Top fan. And then, he does play with a quarter, and he was flinging those quarters out during the live show, just like Mark had said. So the second song is going to turn in right here, pretty quick here. It's called Jesus Just Left Chicago. And this one is here. I'm not a religious man, I do think that there's a God or not, but I will say this. I hate all Christian rock songs because you can't take a verse from the Bible and lay down a heavy, distorted A chord and preach the Bible. Like the verses out of the Bible, they don't make any sense to me, and I always kind of didn't sit very well with me. But this song is great. It's got a killer harmonica in it. It's got some blues in it. It's got the strung drum beat and the simple lyric. It's just really basically like 6 lines. Jesus just left Chicago and he's bound for New Orleans, working one in from the other, and all points in between. Took a jump through Mississippi, muddy water turned to wine. Then out to California in the forest and the pines. The best part is when this guy screams out, "Take me with you, Jesus." I just love it. I love this song. This is the best song for me on this whole album, is Jesus Just Left Chicago. But another song came up. I remember Mark said, when he's reading off the songs on here, he says, Master of Sparks is also good. I was driving back from Denver about 2 weeks ago, and there was this unbelievable lightning storm right around Blue Lake, Blue Mesa. And I decided, I always put Tres Hombres on my phone. I decided to crank up Master of Sparks while I'm barreling across, Highway 50, watching this lightning storm, and I listened to Master of Sparks. So this is it. This is one of the best albums of the 70s, Tres Hombres by ZZ Top. If you don't remember this album, or you probably don't, just go ahead and put it on your phone and give it a listen. You won't be. It's. What was I going to say? It's great. It's great. Thanks for watching. This is the Music Room for July 4th, 2016.